Good morning, and thank you for tuning in to the Katie Sassine Show. I'm Katie Sassine, and we are still continuing the week of the whistleblowers. Yesterday, we left talking about Mr. Andrew Breitbart, and we discussed the Acorn investigation that he very persistently helped to promote, which was done by independent journalists James O'Keefe and Hannah Giles. And James O'Keefe is our background right now, if he's a familiar face to you. He's become pretty popular since he founded Project Veritas with the help of Breitbart. So we were discussing Acorn and the Acorn tapes and the Acorn investigation before the downfall of Acorn. Acorn was doing illegitimate things. They were giving illegitimate advice, and they were helping people basically evade their taxes and evade paying taxes. And they even helped James O'Keefe and Hannah Giles evade taxes as a prostitute, posed as a prostitute and a pimp. And this is just absolutely unacceptable. We don't condone that in our society, and we definitely don't tell people how to evade taxes concerning that issue even more so. So what were the results of this, of the investigation of Acorn, who was under CEO Bertha Lewis? If that's a familiar name to anyone out there. Well, after the exposure of O'Keefe and Giles' work, the two workers, the account specialist and the housing specialist, were fired. Those women that we saw in the video. The statement was Acorn fires two workers that gave advice to the prostitute and the pimp, Giles and O'Keefe. Well, of course they did, because because O'Keefe released a video promoted by Breitbart, who was very prominent at the time, and at nearly his peak in 2010, he exposed their video footage of the meeting with Acorn. And, it was said by David Mastillo, editor for the USA Today, that no one ever investigates Acorn. And because of that, the media left a huge opening, and amateurs like O'Keefe and Giles stepped up. So because the media is not investigating what it needs to be investigating, individuals and independents such as O'Keefe and Giles have stepped up to the plate to reveal the truth of these organizations that actually, this organization in particular, that is associated with the Liberal Party, with the Democratic Party, coincidentally. So the media, of course, called their footage of their meeting with Acorn as edited and heavily doctored, aka not credible. Now, the video footage that you saw in yesterday's episode clearly reveals that there were illegal operations going on. And even though they had to shut down even though they shut down and they went bankrupt, prior to that, and following the release of O'Keefe's video and Giles's video by Breitbart, after they did that, the media still tried to say that they were wrong and that they set up Acorn and they portrayed Acorn as something that it wasn't, when in actuality, they told the truth. They didn't heavily doctor. What they did was they dressed up. The heavy doctoring that they're talking about is how they dressed up and walked around DC as a pimp and a prostitute. And they did this to make it clear to the audience that was watching, and to make it more, to make the audience feel more. If you actually see someone dressed as a prostitute, a young girl, you feel more when you see it visually. So they did that for looks, and I get that. That's okay. You didn't walk in there dressed as a pimp and a prostitute completely. Now, Hannah Giles did. Hannah Giles was dressed, she was very scantily clad when she went into the office, and you see that in the video footage that we saw in the last episode, Thursday's episode, which you can check out on Fetch Your News YouTube channel. And it's undeniable that what they were doing was illegal. So even though the media tried to sway us, and of course this was years ago, because this has been going on for a while, of course we all know that, But even in my lifetime, it's been going on ever since I can remember. This persuasion of the liberals, put out by the media, and this is absolutely no exception. This is another example of, you could call it fake bias news, and also of three amazing whistleblowers: Andrew Breitbart and his successor O'Keefe, and O'Keefe's friend Hannah Giles. So Andrew Breitbart, he left a legacy. It inspired many, and it most definitely inspired James O'Keefe, commissioned by Breitbart before launching his own organization, Project Veritas. So Andrew Breitbart, although he has died, and there's many conspiracies that have arisen about his death due to the peculiar timing of it, he's left a legacy. And I believe that James O'Keefe is continuing that legacy very well by establishing Project Veritas that investigates fake news and situations such as this that we've just discussed. And you can go to projectveritas.com and check out investigations going on right now, more recent investigations, which I'll definitely be looking into also on the show. And the story of how what is his name? How Mr. Breitbart, Mr. Andrew Breitbart passed away was that he collapsed in a affluent LA neighborhood, Brentwood, California. So it was just very peculiar how it all happened. Okay, now we are switching gears here. Dun dun dun. It's time to talk about Mr. William Cooper. The late William Cooper. He was the author of Behold a Pale Horse, released in '91. It was kind of an underground book. It was not mainstream, and he is a radio broadcaster. He was, and a very popular conspiracy theorist. And we're going to go over some excerpts from Cooper's very famous book, Behold a Pale Horse. In this book, Cooper, well, let's check out this verse right here we've got in front of us. There's part of the cover of the novel, Behold a Pale Horse. And it says, and I looked, and behold a pale horse, and his name that sat on him was Death, and hell followed with him. And power was given unto them over the fourth part of the earth, to kill with sword, and with hunger, and with death, and with the beast of the earth. So beware the pale horse. In this book, and it's a short read, it's a quick read, a few hours. I highly recommend it. I love listening to it on Audible. It's actually narrated by William Cooper himself, which is the coolest part in my opinion. Well, aside from the text. He makes it clear that the elite have a plan. He said in his novel, it is less likely that the elite have not band together with a plan for the future. They have band together with a plan for the future. It's only natural because they care for the longevity of themselves and their families. Thus, the changes that take place in the future will most highly benefit the elite. There's a group of the elite, and they're affiliated or maybe even directed by a group known as the Brotherhood of the Snake, the Brotherhood of the Dragon, also known as the Illuminati or the Illuminated. And only some members know the true purpose of the goal. And this goal that William Cooper claims to know is a Luciferian, totalitarian, socialist state. And the elites are to be in charge of whatever this totalitarian socialist state may be. There's an initiation to join one of these groups to become an elite. The Brotherhood of the Snake, the Brotherhood of the Dragon, the Illuminati. There's a, there's a special initiation. And it's, unfortunately, it includes spitting upon the cross. Spitting upon the Holy Cross is part of the initiation of becoming an elite through the groups listed above. So very, very disturbing stuff. To exemplify, they do this initiation of spitting upon the cross to exemplify the recognition that religion is merely a tool of control of the masses. They claim that the only true God is knowledge. And I suppose that they're referring to knowledge of science, of the natural sciences. Whereas I believe that the only true God is God, and you can learn a lot about God through studying the political sciences based on philosophical texts and historical texts written throughout time, and just the way that history has played out itself alone. Now, let's talk about the way that they spit upon the cross to exemplify that religion is a tool to control the masses. Well, there's a lot of merit in that statement, and there's a lot of people who speculate that. And has religion been misused to control the masses? Probably so, as well as many other tools used to control the masses, such as the media. But that's not what religion is about. And that's definitely not what religion is about in the United States. One thing that makes the United States unique is that we're a nation under God. And we uphold the principles of God, of the holy books, of the Holy Bible, and not as a tool to control the masses. Could it be misused to control the masses? Absolutely. But we're a nation under God because we want to be a nation that respects what is to me common sense. Being raised, going to church, and being taught how to act, how to be good. And God is good. So to me, religion is a way for people, religion gives people a reference, and the text of the Bible gives people a reference for how to live and lead a healthy life and a prosperous life that will ensure the utmost success for humanity. So Cooper describes a politician as a mortal god because politicians, they direct the world. They face the world for the people, and politicians must consider human nature in political decision making. Now, human nature, under the realist theory, states that all humans are selfish, but we are unique in the sense that we have the ability to be higher thinkers. So we can overcome that selfishness by our consciousness of who we are and our consciousness of what's wrong and right. And how do we establish that understanding in our minds? We learn from the Bible. We learn from God because God is good. So to disrespect the cross is deplorable, and I look down upon that. And to call them elites to me is crazy. Well, we'll be back very shortly. We're going to continue a discussion on someone new that we need a whistleblower to speak out on. Now, this guy is not a whistleblower himself, but we need a whistleblower, and maybe it has to be me, to reveal the absurd robot technology taking place all behind the scenes. You don't see much of it on the news, but we'll talk about it when we get back. Thank you for tuning in.
What you gonna do with all that junk?
This is the big one. The 20% off MSRP model year-end clearance at Days Chevrolet in Jasper. With huge savings over $3,600 off the redesigned Malibu. Now just $20,400. Save over $8,600 off Silverado Crew Cab LT. Now just $33,500. 20% off new Chevys. Right here, right now. At Days Chevrolet in Jasper.
Better days ahead, Days Chevrolet.
Find new roads.
El Rey and Ellijay.
El Rey Mexican Restaurant.
Family owned and operated and a local favorite for families, parties, and meetings.
Great prices.
Friendly service and delicious Mexican cuisine.
Patio dining available.
Come sing in Carlos's Cantina every Friday 9 to 1.
Eat in or take away.
Same location for 14 years. Open 7 days at the corner of Maddox Drive and 515. North Georgia's favorite Mexican cuisine. El Rey and Ellijay.
North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds. Come on in to view the area's largest selection of fine jewelry at North Georgia Diamond. All repairs and designs are done on site by our jewelers. And North Georgia Diamond has the lowest prices on loose diamonds. You can also sell your gold, silver, and coins at North Georgia Diamond between Walmart and Lowe's in East Ellijay. Locally owned by Bill and Allison Craig, North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds in North Georgia.
Looking for in a vehicle? Start your search at Schottenkirk Ford Jasper. We've simplified the process so you can move on to what matters, your family.
Hello, my name is Chad Watkins. I'm the manager at Larry's Body Shop. We are a family-owned and operated business and have been serving the North Georgia area since 1978. We are located at 1216 Progress Road in Ellijay, Georgia. Our shop specializes in collision repair and we work with all major insurance companies. Larry's Body Shop is ICAR Gold, the highest role of training recognized by the collision repair industry. It is estimated that only 10% of collision shops meet these standards. Our shop consists of state-of-the-art equipment such as laser measurement system, down-drive spray booth, spot and MIG welding equipment. All of our paints are mixed on site so that we can guarantee your paint to match every time. I know that having an accident can be a stressful event. We take pride in making sure our customers are satisfied with the repair of their vehicles. Our waiting area is clean and comfortable with free Wi-Fi and refreshing beverages. So if you're in an accident, stop by and see us at Larry's Body Shop.
Welcome back to the Katie Sassine Show. Who is this guy over to my right? That is Mr. Dmitry Itskov of the Russian Federation of Russia. Hopefully to develop more amicable relations with the U.S. upon our new president, Mr. Trump, up and coming at the moment. So Dmitry Itskov is the founder of New Media Stars, an online media company, but let's forget about all that. That's not very important. I'm sure there's some very insightful things on there, and I'm looking forward to researching them. But more importantly, he's the founder of the 2045 initiative. Most everyone I've talked to, well, everyone that I've asked about the 2045 initiative has not heard a single thing about it. And I heard about it about a year and a half ago. I was watching YouTube and I think an advertisement popped up for it. It was something. I was researching the first family robot, which is Jibo, which I found through looking up new robotics technologies. And, I'd heard about later on, we had heard about Nadine in Singapore, who was the first robot secretary. If you want to check that out, just Google Nadine, Nadine, NE, the first female robot in Singapore, or Singapore Nadine, and that'll pull right up for you in YouTube. It is very, very strange. I mean, these robots are becoming extremely lifelike, especially physically. The physical developments, I believe, are coming more easily to the researchers, and naturally with the abilities that we have in makeup and, you know, surgery. Of course, the physical will come easier to these to whoever's, you know, creating the physical body of these robots, but they're made to look like humans. And that to me is the creepiest part, because it crosses a line, in my opinion. Anyway, let's continue on. So the 2045 initiative aims to achieve cybernetic immortality, to put one's consciousness, to put my brain or your brain and everybody's brain, according to Itskov, he wants the whole world to have this, to put our brains or our consciousness, whichever way he decides to do it, in what's called an artificial carrier by the year of 2045. It's very, very strange. And if this is your first time hearing about this, don't feel bad, because everyone I've talked to hasn't heard about it. No one I've talked to has heard about it, I should say. So there's also the Global Future GF 2045 International Congress, which was developed, I suppose, with Itskov and his team to discuss how to approach and accomplish his 2045 initiative of making everyone in the world who's still here at this time into a robot, basically, with human consciousness. The first GF 2045 Congress was in Moscow, February of 2012, and the second International Global Future Conference, Congress, not conference, was June 13th at the Lincoln Center in New York, focused on what it calls the 21st century's civilization challenges. At the Congress, it states on, I believe it states on the website GF 2045. At the Congress, a vision will be presented for the spiritual transformation of humanity, and new technologies will be demonstrated, which are likely to form the basis of the sci-tech revolution. So this whole transition is a transition of our species. It's not just, oh, there's going to be robots working for humans and doing menial tasks that people don't want to do anymore, such as factory work and stuff like that. It's it's basically, the goal is to make an immortal carrier accessible to everyone. And it seems like the idea is to force this upon everyone in a way that doesn't portray itself as forcing it upon anyone. So the most recent conference was in 2013. Let me see where I'm at here. Oh, the second conference was in June 2013 at the Lincoln Center in New York. And that's the most recent conference reported on GF2045.com, globalfuture2045.com. So it's as if, and I'm going to show a background video here in just a moment. We'll have that pulled up for you. But it's as if the 2045 initiative portrays itself as a philanthropic movement that will save humanity from extinction. In the video that appears in the background, it describes humanity as dull and bored,
increased by multiples of millions. The rate of globally significant events and that of discoveries and crises is growing exponentially. Our civilization is like an uncaptained ship sailing on rough seas with neither chart nor compass, all the while moving faster and faster. The time we have to make the right decisions is shorter and shorter. We are facing the choice to fall into a new dark age, into affliction and degradation, or to find a new model for human development and create not simply a new civilization, but a new mankind. Historic crises show that to break the deadlock, we need technological revolution. It is clear that today's revolution will also require the deepest social transformation. The world's community and leaders should encourage mankind instead of wasting resources on solving momentary problems. To focus on the technologies of the future: nanotechnology, biotechnology, information technology, cognitive technology, genetics and robotics. Doing so will allow us to find new sources of energy, create fundamentally new architecture and transportation, allow unprecedented developments of human cognitive abilities, refine artificial intelligences and brain-computer interfaces, simulate complex systems, create humanoid robots and cyborgs, and with the help of nanorobots, we may develop manageable matter, find ways to transfer one's personality to an artificial carrier.
Just Google it.
Yet what we need is not just another technological revolution, but a new civilizational paradigm. We need new philosophy and ideology, new ethics, new culture and new psychology, and even new metaphysics. We must reset our limits, go beyond ourselves, beyond the Earth, and beyond the solar system. This is an adequate response to the challenges of our time. Thus, new reality and future man will arise. Could it happen spontaneously, by itself?
I was a young kid.
Unlikely.
So I've integrated technology
Humanity
in my
does not
life
have a master plan of its
from the
development.
time-
It seeks stability. It lives in the present and does not plan. It preserves the status quo and tries to escape development. It does not tend to map future centuries and take responsibility for evolution. In consumer society's culture, there is no evolutionary vocabulary and rhetoric.
or Android or whatever you prefer to use.
To break the deadlock,
It's
the Russia
absolutely
2045 movement was founded. It is a
So,
mega project intended to
They're already
reach
incorporating so much about technology in our daily lives that it's honestly annoying. I mean, it gets thrown in your face. We have Alexa by Amazon. We have Siri on iPhone. We are never alone. There's a song that says, iPhones, smartphones, now we're never alone. It's called Lebanese Blonde by a group called Thievery Corporation, and they get a little political with their music. It's good stuff if you ever have the time to check it out. So, what is this video describing? This video, in the beginning, it was portraying humanity as sad, as a sad existence, and living in a world that's going into crisis, that cannot be saved. And the only way that humanity can be saved, according to those who are part of the Global Future Congress or involved in it and support the 2045 initiative, according to them, transhumanism, becoming Robo Sapiens, is supposed to save humanity. This is absolutely crazy. So you can see in the video right behind me, it's showing how the world is in total chaos and economies are crashing. And now it's showing how all these transhumanist movements are developing across the world. We're seeing that right now, and how it's just rapidly spreading and the whole world's catching on to things. Now, I want to give you all a rundown right quick of the initiative of the cybernetic immortality, also known as the Russia 2045 movement. Its aim is to create a new vector for civilization, as I said, which is us becoming Robo Sapiens. It's the Homo sapien to Robo sapien transition, and also known as radical life extension. So essentially, we would have immortal carriers and be able to live forever, and we would have and we would still be ourselves. If you don't believe in the soul, because you can't transfer a soul, so if you only believe in the body and mind, then this is for you. But if you believe in a soul, and I believe in a soul, then this is very strange. I don't know if I want my mind in a mortal carrier without my soul. But if you believe the mind and the soul are one and the same, then maybe you could be for this. There's different ways they plan to do this. There's a timeline of it that I'm going to share with you when we get back next week that you can also check out on this video. If you YouTube 2045 Global Initiative, you'll easily find this video. And in the video behind me right now, you can see an avatar dancing around. This is the first development of the avatar, and how amazing it looks to be an avatar. You have no physical boundaries and whatnot. But there are so many conspiracies that can develop if we give ourselves, so to speak, to technology and to the government. If we become consciousness, if we become a consciousness in an immortal carrier, government control upon the human race as we know it, or upon the Robo Sapiens, which they want us to become, government control upon Robo Sapiens will be limitless. The government will be able to mind control us. And I'm a firm believer that that's a possibility. And it also may stratify the classes in society even more. I mean, I'm predicting that you'll have to have a certain amount of money and status to be able to get a particular avatar or artificial carrier, or whatever you want to call it. How are we doing on timing? How are we doing on timing tonight, or today? We got a few minutes left for the show? All right, so looks like we got to wrap it up for today. I'm having a little too much fun. I'm so excited to get into this and discuss more about it. We went through the whole video. Check it out when you get the chance on YouTube. And I look forward to seeing you next week on the Katie Sassine Show. Thanks for tuning in.